Anthony Albanese says Australia will recognise a Palestinian state. Sky News says he's shaming and imperiling the nation. I say they're wrong. And here's why this is not only the right move, but one Australia should have made years ago. Good day, I'm Tony Tonkin, and on the Tony Tonkin Show we call out political spin, media bias, and the kind of selective outrage that seems to fuel certain corners of Australian journalism. So if you value straight talk and fact-based critique, hit subscribe, like this video and share it, because the conversation we're about to have is one too many people are avoiding. Let's start with the facts. The Albanese government has announced that Australia will join more than 140 nations in recognising the state of Palestine. This recognition is conditional. It requires demilitarisation, political reform within the Palestinian Authority, and a commitment to a two-state solution where Israel and Palestine live side by side in peace. This is not a blank cheque to Hamas. It's not anti-Israel, and it's certainly not a reckless dive into the deep end of Middle East politics. It's a step, measured, deliberate, and entirely consistent with international law and Australia's stated support for a two-state solution.
Albanese has done today shames our nation and it imperils us. It will be politically popular with the hard left, with some Muslim communities, and with those who don't pay attention to what's really going on. It'll be cheered by the radical anti-Israel and anti-US activists so prevalent on Western university campuses. But in the cold, hard light of day, this is another example of the West revelling in self-harm and bowing to its enemies.
Australia is not alone here. France, the UK, Spain, Canada, countries with strong democratic traditions and security interests are either recognising Palestine or, alternatively, moving towards it. Why? Because the status quo has failed. Decades of occupation, blockade, violence and political stalemate have led to despair on both sides. Recognition is a way of saying Palestinians have a right to exist in their own state, just as Israelis have a right to exist in theirs. And yes, it sends a signal to Israel's leadership, especially under Netanyahu, that the international community won't keep turning a blind eye to policies that entrench conflict rather than resolve it. Now, critics, especially those on Sky News, say this recognition shames and imperils Australia.
This rewards terrorism. It demonises Israel, and it devalues the core principles of freedom, democracy and the rule of law so crucial to Western liberal democracies and, I thought, our national values. In fact, this gives Hamas exactly what it wanted when it slaughtered families, raped women, massacred innocent children, defiled bodies and took hostages 22 long months ago. And when I say it gives Hamas exactly what it wanted, I don't mean recognition of a Palestinian state, of course. That's not what Hamas wants. Hamas wants the demonisation of Israel. That's why it deliberately triggered a war that it knew it couldn't win. Hamas wants the world to turn against Israel so that it can advance its long-term aim of eliminating Israel and eradicating the Jewish people. That's what they say, believe what they say, and watch what they do. Now, Australia and a bunch of other soft-minded and weak-kneed nations are demonising Israel with this recognition move, and the terrorists of Hamas will applaud them at every turn.
They claim it emboldens extremists and alienates our allies. So let's unpack that. First, Australia already recognises Israel. Does that mean we endorse every action its government takes? Of course not. Recognition is a diplomatic tool, not a moral blank cheque. Second, as for alienating allies, most of our closest partners are heading in the same direction. If anyone, we're joining the consensus, not breaking it. Third, on emboldening extremists, Recognition is explicitly tied to demilitarisation. You can't ignore it empowers violence when one of the conditions of recognition is the removal of armed militant control. Foreign policy isn't just about what happens overseas. It shapes how the world sees us. By recognising Palestine, Australia is telling the global community we believe in the rules-based law and the rules-based order, in human rights and in negotiated peace.
Australia will recognise the right of the Palestinian people to a state of their own, predicated on the commitments Australia has received from the Palestinian Authority.
Oh, so he's recognising the right to form a state, and he's received commitments from the Palestinian Authority.
It also strengthens our credibility in the region, particularly with Muslim-majority nations. That matters for trade, diplomacy, and yes, our security. If we only ever take positions that please Washington, we become irrelevant in the parts of the world where Australia's voice could actually help build peace. At the heart of this, not just geopolitics, it's human lives. Right now, millions of Palestinians live under occupation, blockade, or as refugees. Children grow up knowing nothing but checkpoints, air raids, and shortages of the basics we take for granted. Recognising their statehood isn't magic. It won't fix everything overnight, but it says to those children, the world sees you. Your future matters. And it also says to Israelis, we support your right to live in safety, but that safety cannot come from the permanent subjugation of another people. This isn't about picking sides in an endless zero-sum game. It's about creating conditions where both peoples can have security, dignity, and self-determination. You can oppose Hamas, reject violence, and still support Palestinian statehood. In fact, that's the only sustainable position if you truly care about peace. So when the outrage machine fires up, remember, diplomacy is about courage, not comfort. Recognising Palestine is a step towards a just peace, and Australia should be proud to take it. Even if you agree, or even if you don't, but want to have the conversation, drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe so we can keep challenging the narratives you won't hear on Sky News.